for another dispatch, and I don't think I'm going to have time today to get to the studio. So early, not that early, well, early-ish Sunday morning, I'm home. I'm not in my painting outfit or in my studio. Anyway, I thought I would share a little something for the week. Little Vincent van Gogh. I think he was the first painter whose work I saw. I need to look it up to see what year that was. I was a boy. There was a big show of his work at the LA County Museum of Art. I don't know, 10? No, 9, 8, I don't know. I remember seeing his shoes, still life of those old shoes, which really hit me. It was like, it means something to me. I was really, later I found out he would just go to the flea market and buy old shoes, paint them. It's like, oh, that's not a bad idea, actually. Maybe I'll go do that. All right. So here's a letter to Theo. You gotta read, get the right. Dear Theo, Nuenen, late January 1885. You would really greatly oblige me by trying to get for me illustration number 2174, 20th of October, 1884. It is already an old number, but at the office, you will probably be able to get it. In it, there is a drawing by Paul Renard. Strike of the Weavers at Lyon. Also, one from a series of opera sketches of which he has also published etchings called The Harpist, which I like very much. Then he has also done just recently The World of the Law Courts, which I got from Repart. You know it probably from the Paris Illustré by Adama. But I think the drawing of the weaver is the most beautiful of all. There is so much life and depth in it that I think this drawing might hold its own beside Millet, Daumier, and Lepage. When I think how he rose to such a height by working from the very beginning from nature, without imitating others, and how he is nonetheless in harmony with the very clever people, even in technique, though from the very first he had his own style. I find him again a proof that by truly following nature, one's work improves every year. And I am daily more convinced that people who do not in the first place wrestle with nature never succeed. I think that if one has tried to follow attentively the great masters, one finds them all back at certain moments deep in reality. I mean that their so-called creations will be seen by one in reality if one has the same eyes, the same sentiment as they had. And I do believe that if the critics and connoisseurs were better acquainted with nature, their judgment would lie more correct than now, when it is the routine to live only among pictures and to compare them mutually, which of course, as one of the side questions, is good in itself, but it lacks a solid basis if one begins to forget nature and looks only superficially. Can't you understand that I am perhaps not wrong in this? And to say more clearly still what I mean, is it not a pity that you, for instance, seldom or hardly ever enter those cottages or associate with those people or see that sentiment in landscape, which is painted in the pictures you like best? I do not say that you can do this in your position just because one must look much and long at nature before one comes to the conviction that the most touching things the great masters have painted still find their origin in life and reality itself. A basis of sound poetry which exists eternally as a fact and can be found if one digs and seeks deeply enough. The durable within the transitory. It exists. He actually brings that in French, but they have a translation, thankfully. I couldn't translate. And what Michelangelo said in a splendid metaphor, I think Millet has said without metaphor. And Millet can perhaps best teach us to see and get a faith. If I do better work later on, I certainly shall not work differently than now. I mean, it will be the same apple, though riper. I shall not change my mind about what I have thought from the beginning. And this is the reason why I say for my part, if I am no good now, I shall be no good later on either. Oh, I shall be no good later on either. But if later on, then now too. For corn is corn, though people from the city may take it for grain at first, and also the other way round. In any case, whether people approve or do not approve of what I do and how I do it, I, for my part, know no other way than to wrestle so long with nature that she tells me her secret. All the time I am working at various heads and hands. I have also drawn some again. Perhaps you would find something in them, perhaps not. I can't help it. I repeat, I know no other way. But I can't understand that you say, perhaps later on we shall admire even the things done now. If I were you, I should have so much self-confidence and independent opinion that I should know whether I could see now what there was or was not in a thing. Well, you must know those things for yourself. Though the month is not quite over, my purse is quite empty. I work on as hard as I can, and I, for my part, think that by constantly studying the model, I shall keep a straight course. I wish you could send me the money a few days before the first for the same reason, that the ends of the month are always hard, because the work brings such heavy expenses and I don't sell any of it. But this will not go on forever, for I work too hard and too much not to arrive eventually at the point of being able to defray my expenses without being in a dependent position. For the rest, nature outside and the interiors of the cottages, they are splendid in their tone and sentiment just at present. I try hard not to lose time. Goodbye. Yours, Vincent. Wild. I mean, how relevant it feels. I mean, how relevant. And I don't think I'm just like projecting backwards into some kind of 19th century value system. I think he's totally right on, like right now, 21st century. Get back to reality, get back to nature. I don't mean necessarily go out for a walk, although, yeah, great. I mean, like, be with what's real. All right. On that note, the dog wants to go outside. All right, everybody, I hope you're well and painting and drawing and doing stuff and making stuff. And yeah, go out for a walk in nature, draw. I'll do that. That'd be good. Okay, take care. Be well.